Yeah, I mean, as Mr. Kadir Alam has very knowledgeably noted, prison overcrowding is a major challenge faced by criminal justice systems around the globe. It's not a phenomenon that occurs only in Pakistan. 110 out of the 193 member states of the United Nations are affected by prison overcrowding. More than 50 states are operating prison services at more than 150% of their capacity. As Mr. Kadir Alam has noted, in 2019, more than 11 million people, including 410,000 children, were held in prisons across the globe, representing an increase of 25% since 2000. While the number of women in incarceration represent a small minority of the prison population, their numbers grew by 50% over the same period, reaching more than 714,000 women. The number of individuals convicted for drug-related offenses, a phenomenon that Mr. Kadir Alam also has highlighted, is estimated to account for 18% of the global prison population, and the proportion of women, 35%, imprisoned for drug-related offenses is higher than that of men, 19%. A main contributor to prison overcrowding is the excessive resort to pretrial detention, what is called under-trial detention in Pakistan. Under-trial detainees around the globe outnumber convicted prisoners in 45 states of the world. In 14 of those states, pretrial or under-trial detainees represent more than 70% of the prison population. Even though many individuals charged with criminal offenses do not pose a risk to public safety or the administration of justice, their number among the prison population has risen by 30% since 2000 to more than 3 million people. Mrs. Rovina Sahin, she has very eloquently illustrated how prison overcrowding constitutes an acute global human rights, health and security crisis, and stands out as the greatest contributor to violations of international minimum standards in prisons. Incarceration reflects and reinforces socio-economic inequalities and intersecting forms of discrimination within societies. The result is the overrepresentation of minority and marginalized groups among prisoners, many of whom are charged with petty and non-violent offenses. Individuals may also be deprived of liberty for crimes linked to discrimination against women and lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or intersex persons. Children may be deprived of liberty for non-criminal acts as a substitute for referral to childcare and protection services that might be lacking. Persons with psychosocial or intellectual disabilities are also often imprisoned owing to a lack of community-based support and public healthcare facilities. Those detained for drug-related offenses are also often low-level offenders, such as persons who use drugs, drug couriers, or small-scale dealers. Prior to any decision to expand prison capacity, states that are confronted with prison overcrowding should first explore and exhaust opportunities to reduce the prison population, and then conduct a comprehensive and realistic assessment of remaining needs. Apart from strengthening prison management and improving prison conditions and advancing the rehabilitation and social integration of offenders, priority should be given to shifting policies towards crime prevention and alternatives to imprisonment. The focus on criminal justice responses should be shifted to investing in longer-term strategies for crime prevention, rehabilitation, restorative justice, and social reintegration, with an emphasis on the most vulnerable. This shift also requires a movement towards depenalization and decriminalization in appropriate cases, in line with international norms and standards. The effective use of alternatives to incarceration, also noted by Mr. Kadir Alam in his eloquent presentation, is another precondition to reduce prison populations. Concrete measures may include at the pre-trial stage, for example, diversion or discharge, including conditional discharge. At the trial stage, we would have status penalties, economic sanctions, restitution or compensation orders, suspended sentences, probation, and judicial supervision, among others. And at the post-sentencing stage, we can also count on measures such as halfway houses or various forms of parole and pardoning schemes. Non-custodial measures tend to be more cost-effective and are a more proportionate and humane criminal justice response in appropriate cases. However, non-custodial measures require sufficient physical infrastructure and resources, including for probation and parole agencies, social services, and civil society organizations, in order to be functional and effective. In order to reduce the overuse and excessive lengths of pretrial detention and address procedural delays, case backlogs, and miscarriages of justice, it is crucial to build the capacity of criminal justice actors, improve interagency cooperation, simplify and speed up criminal justice procedures, and improve data management systems and other infrastructure. Early access to effective legal aid is also crucial for those detained to challenge their conditions of detention. And regular monitoring by inspections by the prison service and by external independent bodies is also key to prevent torture and ill-treatment. I'll briefly address the situation of women and children also deprived of liberty, because additional consideration should be given to gender-responsive prison design, management practices, and non-custodial measures for women offenders, taking into account their specific circumstances, the often non-violent nature of the offenses women commit, and any wrongful criminalization. And regarding children, the best interest of the child should also be a priority in all actions that affect them. In the case of child offenders, all efforts should be made to resort to diversion, other non-custodial measures, and restorative justice, regardless of their alleged associations and offenses. All these are recommendations that are promoted and supported by the United Nations Common System. There's a position that they've come together on incarceration as a response to the plight of persons deprived of liberty during the COVID pandemic. At the time, many states around the world decided to adopt release measures to reduce prison populations with very positive results. So linking these efforts with the Sustainable Development Agenda, we are really supporting countries to achieve implementation of SDG 16 with a specific indicator on pretrial detention as a basic element on accessing to justice. And all these efforts and recommendations should be guided by international human rights law, including the Mandela Rules, Bangkok Rules, and Tokyo Rules. Thank you.